ये लगाएं पीछे, नहीं पीछे एड्रेस का स्टिकर लगाएं, ये मुझे एड्रेस ये लगाएं ये।
Yeah, so I am looking to come back for the Healthcare Expo. That's next February as well.
Yeah.
But if anybody knows of any investment opportunities, that's what I'm
Amazing. And I want to introduce Thomas. He is such an inspiring person, and the platform that he is coming from. Please, Thomas, tell us.
So I'm Thomas. I work at Zine. I'm the head of partnerships, and Zine is a payment platform based in the UAE, where businesses, particularly SMEs, can accept payments online with payment links, payment gateway, in person with Tap to Pay on iPhone or Android, QR codes. So we plan to be the major fintech in the Middle East region.
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
That's who you were
Yes.
telling me about.
So-
She spoke very highly of you, actually. Yeah.
Yes, he's helped me so much because when I have some immediate payments, it's so good to. And I would like to. And I want to introduce Romana. She's a very inspiring, a very, very, very phenomenal hidden gem. Romana,
my God,
and she's
that's-
also my neighbor. And I am so excited that she took out the time to be part of Elevate. Romana, please tell us
Thank you.
about
Thank you
yourself.
so much, Sameera. So my name is Romana Malik, and I am here today from House & House Consulting. So I'm into offline consulting, essentially. My background is finance. I've worked with FMCG, with Coca-Cola for 10 years. Before that, I was with Dubai Petroleum. And before that, I was with Fitch Ratings, Pacra. So I have a finance background, and I've now moved into real estate. And I am absolutely loving it. I mean, this is the place to be, and this is the industry to be in right now.
Amazing. And I would really like to have a beautiful, inspiring corporate leader here. Please tell us about yourself, Amma.
Thank you so much, Sameera. It's a pleasure to be here. As for myself, I have been in the corporate for about 2 decades, over 2 decades in the finance industry, banking and finance. Over time, I realized that emotional intelligence is something that we all have been missing all these years. So I then became an emotional intelligence coach. And so today what I do is I coach individuals and train corporates in emotional intelligence blended with financial intelligence, where I blend the concepts of spending, saving, and smart investments through emotional intelligence.
We're about to start the event. During my panel, we will be talking about modern wealth creation, especially in this digital era where AI is dominating, but at the same time, it's not clear how AI will impact, especially businesses. Now, it's funny to create videos with AI, images and stuff, but especially for business owners, it's not clear how to make it practical, how to make it work, how to generate leads, make more sales, automate workflows. And my speech wants to be about that, how to make it practical and simple for everyone, because people are confused, so it's time to make clarity.
Amazing.
Hi, I am Yasmin Taimuri, entrepreneur and businesswoman, over 26 years in Dubai, and I'm so delighted and honored to be here. Thank you so much for
And
invitation.
Yasmin is one of the best inspiring entrepreneurs,
Thank you.
having a beautiful line of
Thank
businesses,
you,
and
yeah.
she's here to elevate all of us.
No, I'm here to learn and inspire, get inspiration from others. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who's Layla? She's another beautiful member of Elevate.
I'm getting the same number.
And please introduce yourself.
I didn't answer.
Hi, and good morning. My name is Leila.
some lack. And how I feel that we all have a house in our head, right? We all have a house in our head. So the main thing is when we've conquered ourselves, when we have absolutely have our glass full, how can we be of service to anyone? Why will anyone buy my brand if I don't have the faith in it? Why am I hesitant to go up to that person I know is my key client? What is stopping me? I know I see someone over there. How many of us hesitate if you see the president or Donald Trump? When you see your friend, college friend, doing a million times better than you, and you knew that she was below you, how do you feel?
Sad, angry.
We're humans, right? Okay, so I feel you should take that as an advantage, and I feel that you should take that as an opportunity. If you're envious of someone, use it. And use that. If you're jealous of someone, especially the women, I don't know about the men. Matthew's going to tell us. But I think...
if another guy is doing better than me, I can inspire.
Inspired. Inspired.
Maybe I feel sad, but because I can't keep up with him. But the fault is on me.
It's so natural. I mean, I have my son saying, Mom, are you like... he likes to tease me. But what I need to say is, I have those thoughts sometimes. I said, you know what, one of my friends said, wait a minute, you were the valedictorian, so I don't know, I feel sometimes the haters can be your biggest motivators. Why don't we flip the switch? I think I should learn more from my enemies than my best friends. You know why? Because if we're able to see the signs, there's nothing to stop us. But of course, it requires hard work. Is that in your control? No. Right? But we can help them. I think, I have an African grey parrot, and I lost my African grey, I have CNN Arabia documentary on it. And every time now it came back by God's miracle, every time I pet it, I'm like, please stay here. But I know what is the fear? Yes.
Fear dwelled on it for about a good year.
But you have multiple.
And because I come from a corporate background, so I just sat and I was like,
Fear.
Fear of judgment.
Our fears here.
yeah,
Yes.
fear of judgment.
Talk
How
maybe, yes.
are people going to perceive me? I come from a very different background. This industry is different. A lot of perception in the market about the industry. So
How can we overcome that?
People speak obviously about fear of failure, but the way I look at it personally is I only fail if I stop. I could have a terrible week, month, couple of days. If I stop, then I fail. But if I keep going, I'm fine. So.
Who is a self-made individual? Fear is helping me to become what I am. I'm going to wrap up with my last slide, and this is, guys, we need to be our brand. We need to be a walking brand. We need to start now. I have heard so many people saying, I don't have a social media page. I don't know about the AI. You know what? Start now. Don't start tomorrow. Start now. Start today. Where's your social media? You know what? The best emails that I like, this is my link, and that's it. Crisp. If I want anyone to just say or define yourself in 2 words, and what is the kind of energy that you're bringing? When you walk in, or the people that you're surrounding yourselves with, the energy that you get elevated. Remove the toxic roadblocks. Fear is helping me to become what I am. I'm going to wrap up with my last slide, and this is, guys, we need to be our brand. We need to be a walking brand. We need to start now. I have heard so many people saying, I don't have a social media page. I don't know about the AI. You know what? Start now. Don't start tomorrow. Start now. Start today. Where's your social media? You know what? The best emails that I like, this is my link, and that's it. Crisp. If I want anyone to just say or define yourself in 2 words, whatever that is, it's okay. The day will pass. This too shall pass.
If you don't mind me sharing, has anyone experienced a serious failure in their life in terms of business or health, and they've come out of it?
Good morning. Happy to see you all. And I have, met mostly 80% of you. Those who still we didn't communicate, we can after the break. But truly, from the bottom of my heart, I'm so happy to see you, all of you. You did this decision. Some of you sacrificed, some of you they took off. Some of you they came from Abu Dhabi. Some of you they fly. Maybe we have anyone from outside UAE?
Yeah.
Dr. Indra.
Yes.
She flight in yesterday from UK.
Amazing. So happy that you did this. It's a privilege to have you. We're having lineup speakers. I appreciate all the speakers who came. Some speakers, by the way, I will keep it at the end, okay, without mentioning any name. Some speakers, they don't speak here with a minimum at least 500 audience. But out of humility, he accepts to be here with us. So we are blessed to have you, okay? And I want you, before dive into anything, I just want all of you to feel home. Since this morning I have seen all of you, I didn't feel that we are into an event. Did you? I feel like it's a home, and I love that everyone loved the energy of the place. Everyone was thanking that we have chosen this area. So this, because and by the way, I have shared with some of you that we just planned 5 weeks ago, not like 3 months or 4 months ago. But because we put our mind and heart to it, so it happened. And we didn't expect this number. We were putting maximum, including the speakers, like 25 to 30, but it went over. So just, apologize if there's, some of you maybe not feeling okay with the sittings. Because we didn't, some people, they registered at the last moment. Until last night, 9 p.m., I'm getting with Sameera calls, this one to come, we don't have set, and they're begging us. I don't know why people, they stay until the last moment. It's nature, maybe. Dubai life, to act fast. Dubai life is to act fast. At the last moment. So, true.
And cancels.
Yeah, cancellation happens. So, who has seen me for the first time? Wow, almost 99.9%. Only maybe 2 they know me. Good, so you have already judged me, right? Yeah, this is the human nature. The first impression you take is already there. Okay, I just will share some of my story, part of my story. Okay, this is Mariam Al Harmoudi. I am from UAE, pure Emirati. Many people they ask me, where are you from? Lebanon, Egypt, Pakistan, India, Syria. I have the privilege to have all these features, but I'm from UAE, and I started my journey as most of the people who take the path, okay? And I realized by the end that to not align with most people's path, the majority path, yeah? They are not living the life of their own rules. I started studying computer engineering, graduated, and then went working to corporate for 5 years. From day one, I didn't see myself an employee. Why? I don't know. It was from day one in my mind, this is not me. I don't want to give, with all respect to all jobs, I'm not underestimating any job. But I didn't see myself in a way to give 30 years from my life to a job and then retire, and then I cannot retire until I reach 50 years old. I was very curious. I keep asking the HR, look, even if you give 25 years, if you are not 50 years old, you cannot apply for retirement. What a crazy. The decision was very difficult, but it took me 5 years. It took me 5 years to finally take it. 12 years ago, not now, 12 years ago. And thankfully, I'm very grateful to God that He gave me this insight at early stage. At that time, many people labeled me crazy. Are you serious? You want to leave a stable job to go and follow unknown path, to open a business. They keep thinking, but I didn't listen to anyone. I silenced the noise in my head. I took the decision without getting consultation from anyone, even my parents, even my husband. The only one who was supporting was Happy, my husband. He didn't believe it. Then I started the journey of entrepreneurship, the unknown path. I went into the business, still have into many things, but the topic that I will focus on, I started with a desperate and a worry and a doubt energy. My partner in business, when we started 1 year before I applied for my resignation, she told me, this is this, I keep following her and I drain into her energy of worry and doubt that it might not be enough, we cannot make it. So I followed her blindly. Yes, I went through many failures. She put me down, but the mistake was from me, because I was at that day, I had this small awareness on me. But finally, I came to such community, similar to this. And I listened to one of the speakers who said, we always, when we start our journey in any field, we keep, listening to our self-doubt, our own talks, that this might not work for me, that maybe this is not for me, maybe I'm not enough, maybe I don't have all the skills, it's not the right time. And exactly I was going through all this when I started. Until I realized that to think and feel and adopt the mindset of abundance. Abundance is not something you go and get it. Like, I see this rich lady, let's sit with her, tomorrow I will be rich. Surround yourself with rich people, 5 rich people, you will be the 6th, right? Yeah. The problem sometimes we just listen to this phrase and quotes and then, we don't understand it well. We just follow it blindly. No, what I learned that abundance, it means think about it. Something you think about it within you. It should be inside of you before you see it outside. It's how you are being, it's who you are. So once we started today, I know my partner Sameera, she started. She said to you that you are here. I want you to live present. Because you will listen to many of us, many speakers. You will learn. By the way, I am here learning also. I will be with you. I'm not an expert. I want you to be present with full mind. Because then you don't know, maybe one story or one conversation or one inspiring story will change the direction of your life before entering 2026, right? We are at the end of the year. Over 7 participants canceled. They cannot make it. Somebody got sick. They don't want to risk others' life. Some emergency, one of the speakers canceled, and we came up with we were away far from the goal, the number in this room. Do you want to know how much we were last Friday? Sameera? We were only, after cancellations, we were only 11. But within just 48 hours, we felt this thing.
Because we have those authentic connections, and we have built, because we play the long game. We don't play the short game. I feel that our efforts, our love for this country and the connections that we have made, all these is love, and
Absolutely.
everyone I know. And
Absolutely.
the ones who are here, I hope you enjoy.
But what I want to deliver this year, can you share it?
She doesn't want to.
She's protecting. But you can't tell me. But the message is what? The message is that, let's say I did the target today. Net profit, $500,000. Why not next year? 2x.
I resigned, then I moved into healing, I don't know why. I never thought I would be a healer. I kept telling my instructor, I'm not a healer, I'm a psychic. She kept telling me, you are here because you are a healer. So after, I don't know how many sessions, I became a healer. And after that, I fell in love with healing. Healing became my way of living. I started knowing how many sessions myself I need to heal. I never knew I had so many wrong beliefs ever since I was a child. I never realized I had issues. By the way, I'm a psychic, although a psychic cannot read for himself, if everybody knows this. I cannot read anything for myself. So today, what I will do, it will not seem like fluent of one topic. I will say anything that comes to my mind. First of all, for everybody, especially those who are trying new business or are doing something new with their life, always remember, universe is very smart. You are where you're supposed to be at this moment of your life. You're not by mistake or wrongly in that place. Trust that you are where you're supposed to be. This is where your story will start. Second, all of us, we need to dig on our negative belief. We have to know, do we have any negative belief? Like we all have, some of us ignore, but maybe we all have negative belief. Always ask yourself, what's happening? What keeps happening to me every time I start something new? Like, do I fail? Do I face people who cheat on me? Do I? Mostly it will be an idea. It could be like, if you didn't hear it now, you will hear it during the day. But it is connected to the life. You should believe that you can pull it. You can make it. You have to trust yourself. Second, you should love yourself enough that you will not attract negative people in your life. This is something they taught us in healing. Third, you have to learn that what you attract, wrong people, you will always meet wrong people because the universe does not understand negative or positive. It understands words. You send words, accept it. They don't hear it. They hear only the other words without not like. I like cheating people. You will attract cheating people who have to be very tough. If you take him aside to the room, he will look at the mirror and start criticizing that person himself. Look what I have done. It's all a mistake. I shouldn't have done this. I've done this wrong. You wake up in the morning and you have kind of sickness, but you have an important meeting. You just say to your body, please not now. Please not now. I have a meeting. Suddenly the pain goes. Because the body listens, the organ listens. You just talk. How are you? He said, this is the chairman of the East Airlines. And I told him about you and you are hired to work at the uniform. I couldn't say yes or no. He said, say thank you. And I said, no, I will say thank you because you are working with us. I wanted to please the guy because the guy owned half of the company. I didn't know. He didn't want anybody to know what does he do in life. So the second day I went to the airport, everybody was waiting for me as if I was the princess. Hey, your uniform ready, your hands are ready. And this is one story of the universe offering me a gift I wanted. It was a gift from the universe. When I resigned after 30 years, I thought, I'm crazy. Why did I resign? I had a very high salary. I've been all over the world. I was happy visiting everything. Why would I resign? Then I remembered that God and the universe, they try to show you that it's time to move and do something different. If you don't do it yourself, He will push you into doing it. You don't know why I resigned. I don't know why I resigned. I just found myself without a job, jobless. So, what to do? The only thing I know how to do is cycling. But I cannot tell people I'm cycling. They think I have horn here. So I don't tell people I'm cycling. Now, recently, I don't care. I tell them. But before, it was like, I was very ashamed. So I resigned. I wanted to do anything. There was nothing for me to do, not even healing. In my country, we deal with guns. We don't deal with healing. We have a different culture in our country. So we put our hand like this, and we will ask aloud. Who will talk? Who will say aloud? Am I able to pull this project? Everyone, say it in your heart, or say it aloud if you like. Am I able to pull this project? And then relax, hold the seat, my lady. Just stand up. You don't need to hold anything. Your body. So tell me, how do you feel? How do you move, by the way? And then I want you to visualize yourself standing in a beautiful place, white place, higher than the place where you have been. I want you to repeat in your heart. And then say, God, please, give me a message that I need for my business or for me.
Through the stories, and then at the end we will ask also, we will take some questions from you. Okay? The room became hot, right?
That was the turning point of my life. And this is my...
You did it, buddy, but obviously he had health issues and he achieved what he did. Mine were a bit of a mixed bag. So I am going to talk about letting go. I think that's very important for us entrepreneurs and people in business, because we fall in love with what we're creating, and sometimes what we're creating you may think this is the best thing for you, but it may not be. It may not work, and letting go also is an important part of how you can kind of change and move ahead and adapt. So just a bit about myself. My name is Herois. I am Indian Canadian. I was born in India, brought up in Canada. Touch wood, my parents are and were and are still are amazing. So very lucky to kind of have that. Again, I do understand. I feel that I'm very lucky because, you know, there's some people who don't have their parents alive, and my heart goes out to all of you. That's the case, you know. And my story is a bit of a Bollywood film, truly. It's if I write a book right now or create a movie, it'll be a tragedy because the ending's still not written. But I'm not educated at all. Didn't even finish high school. I was in the gold and diamond space, the gold and diamond business. Thought great margins, let's do it. Went to Africa I'm talking about 12, 14 years ago, and just lost everything. Lost about 40 million dirhams. And you know, in the UAE, if you have bounce checks and you haven't paid your bills, you know what happens. So I'm not someone who shies away from my past. So there were bounce checks. I had to go sit in Alavir. It is what it is. You know, we have to accept what happened. But that didn't define me. That didn't, make me feel like I can't do it. So I said, how do I bounce back? So I started my offices in Africa, Congo, Uganda, Ghana. I was kidnapped a few times. I was kidnapped once in Uganda itself, and I knew that the kidnapping was part of it because those guys knew exactly how much money I had. But they were nice people. He did give me $100 taxi money so I can leave after I left. So that was okay. We laugh about it, but at that time, my son was just born, and I was like, wow, I want to go back to my son. So kidnappings, scams, lost all the money, and then unfortunately in life, if as a man, if you are failing, not just, I'm saying as a man because just from my point of view, as a man, if failing, your relationships don't go well. People keep, relationships fail, and about a few years ago, I got a divorce. Obviously, whoever's seen the show has seen what's happened. And at that time, businesses were not working. Also, my son has autism, and that is something that really, really, as a father, sometimes I sit and think, have I done something wrong? Is it God? Does my son have a chance? And every single day I get up and I strive and I try to do the best I can for him. I know it's going into a sob story, but there's a lesson here. I promise you I'm coming to it. So thank you for your patience. So, this business is not doing well, marriage not going well, wanting to get a divorce, all those things. And I say this because, and coincidentally, I met the woman I'm with right now, the woman I love, who saved me. She didn't have to. I had nothing. I was broke with baggage, and she saved me. And what's important here is once she saved me, I then realized that I can do it. She saw something in me that I thought nobody saw. Obviously, I was lucky enough to have friends like Arfeen and Shez who have always been supportive of me, and they've seen me down and out. And she saved me in a way where she saw something in me. And that changed me in terms of said that, you know what, I can do it. If she sees something in me, then I'm sure other people can see something in me. And then about letting go. So I shut all my Africa businesses down because they were all draining money, 40 million in debt. And I said, you know what, it's time to adapt. Let's do something different. At the same time, the crypto space was booming. So, I learned from my gold business and I created a token called Gold Paisa. And years later, it's a $100 million token. The token's doing well. And I didn't know anything about blockchain coding. I learned everything from YouTube. I surrounded myself as a team because you can't do it all. Whoever says they can do it all, my mom says, if you think you know it all, you fall. So you can't do it all by yourself. I'm not a blockchain coder. I am just a marketing guy. I know people. Sold my soul to get on a show so I can market my product. So whoever's not seen Dubai Bling Season 3, please watch it. It's about my divorce. Welcome. And it's about and obviously they marketed my product as well. And even on that show, like people think it's easy, but reality TV isn't easy. I was on the show and I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know they were going to take that narrative. So it's not easy. And then after the show released, I was the most hated man for about 4 weeks. Again, I don't care. They're just keyboard warriors. They don't put food on my table. But whenever I used to get angry and upset, I used to go in there in the comments and troll them even more. So that was like my little secret enjoyment. So all I'm saying to you is, there's nothing ends. You know, life's a journey. There is no destination. We're all gonna die. Makes no difference. Just be as happy as you can. Do your best. If you have to let go, let go. That's okay. You can start again. Surround yourself with the right people, and don't try and do everything on your own. So
in that state of, what I was, stuck and not moving forward because of what people will think of me if I did this, what they will say, what she's thinking herself. So I was for many years in that, but now no. So the most important, I'm telling you, like, I have sit with many people the past 12 years, different backgrounds, different nationalities, mindsets. Most of them, what's stopping them, it's what other people will think of me. They care a lot, they give value to people, to their opinions. And this, I can say, this is the essence of your success.
Yeah, and
getting back.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that is important, which I've learned, because the older I got, well, I'm not that old, but just the older I got, what I've learned is, I may use the word, but don't give a shit about what anyone thinks. If they're not putting food on your table, it makes no difference.
They are not putting
Truly does.
anywhere.
And all of these keyboard warriors, social media now, I understand for our businesses, we need to have a brand, we need to have a presence. So there'll be a lot of trollers, there'll be a lot of haters. Sometimes your closest friends are your haters. And again, when people always talk about your surroundings, I think that is an extremely important thing, to have the right people in your surroundings and in your team. And and obviously you guys are all entrepreneurs, and when you're hiring, I think it's important you hire by character, not just by skill, because skill can be learned. So you have the right character person with you, then they can learn the skill. And again, loyalty, don't expect loyalty instantly. They don't know you, they will bond with you, and that's when loyalty will come from, again, also from what you do for them. And treat, I'm sure we all do, but I truly believe in treating everyone equally. No one's above, no one's below. And in my company, there is no hierarchy, there is no CEO, there is no cleaner. We're all the same. We treat everyone the same. And I think that's important, because everyone likes to be part of something. They want to be part of the team. I understand as business owners, it's very difficult for us to, share or give shares or do this or do that. But if you make them feel like they're part of the same mission and they're part of your team, they will go further. Because some people, are driven by significance. Some people are driven by gratitude. So, like I'm driven by significance. So if I'm making less, but someone loves me and is giving me love and affection and significance, you're great, you're this, I'll go further for them. But it's just how I'm tuned. But some people are just driven by money. So you got to understand what they're driven by. And then, yeah, you need a team, and without a team, you can't do it alone. So I understand there's AI. Again, true, it's a fact. AI is going to make everything obsolete. I understand that. I get it. The world's going to be on, universal basic income soon. We know that's going to happen. Those things are going to happen. But the edge that you guys all have is, you guys are here. You guys want to make a difference, and you find that edge. And you just, again, it's not about inspiration for me. Inspiration is just words. It's about actions and the things you put through. So, yeah, that was my last bit. Sorry.
Thank you. The last person, the most, by the way, he's rich, but he doesn't like to show rich. With all respect with me. He's a watch collector.
Oh.
But he doesn't watch anywhere, but because he is in Dubai, it's okay.
I only wear it in Dubai, I can't wear it in the UK. You get your hand chopped off.
And he's amazing. He just knew that I'm doing it, but immediately promoted, and he keep pushing the community. And it's a shame. We just posted and nobody came, and 3 of them, they are here, and hopefully very soon we will create another big version. And I will give now the mic for him to start and saying his story.
Well, my story is very long, but I'm going to keep it very short. My name is Shez Khan. Oh, it's a long story. But my name is Shez Khan. Thank you very much for inviting me here, and thank you everyone for being here. I'm from the United Kingdom, born in the UK, and educated in the UK. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you my major turning points. So when I was 15 years old, now this is very unusual for Asian parents. I'm originally from India. My dad says to me, one day he comes up to me and he says to me, if you want to make it big in life, never work for anyone. And Asian parents never say that. They say, go and get a job, right? You're a doctor, lawyer, engineer, accountant. Now the second thing that happened is I started martial arts. It was an art called Wing Chun Kung Fu. And I had a Chinese instructor called Wai Po Tang. He's still alive today. The reason why I started martial arts was in the UK, there's a lot of racism at that time, really bad. And anything my colour or darker, they would come and attack you. So what I did is I started martial arts. And anytime there was a fight or they'd come up to me, I just stand there like this, and they'd all run away. And that's what it was back then. So that was my first turning point. But what happened is from the age of 15 to 19, I started associating myself with the wrong people. I'd be looking for fights. Now, why would I look for fights? Because my mentor was Bruce Lee. And when I studied his story, every time he would train, after his training, he would go on the streets looking for fights. Now, I'm 15 years old, so I'd go looking for fights. When I was 19 years old, my dad sees the situation. He comes up to me and he goes, that guy is bad for you. That friend is bad for you. And what do? I protect. No, they're good. So he's really clever what he did, because parents at the end are always right. So instead of him fighting against me, he says to me, I want you to go to a meeting. I said, what meeting? He goes, go to London, there's a hotel called Hotel Ibis in Houston. Go to the meeting. So he makes me wear a suit. I've got this big briefcase. I walk into this room with 200 people in the room. They're all jumping up and down, thinking, what is this? And that was the very first time I ever heard about self-development, growth, motivation. So there I am, 19 years old. I've started my education at uni. And a lady comes on the stage by the name of Paula Pritchard. And what she says next, I didn't realize that that meeting that day was the defining moment of my life and my entire family's blueprint forever. I never knew it. It was my decision that I made that day. So what did she do? She comes on the stage. Remember, I'm 19 years old, and I'm going down the road of education. Getting a degree, going for a job, working 40 years of my life, at the end, being broke. Spending 2 weeks, a year on holidays, and so on. So what she does, she goes on the board and she draws a big circle and puts the number 500. She goes, if you go to any country in the world and take a group of 500 people, any population, 480 of them will be broke, living paycheck to paycheck. And 20 of them will be financially free. And I said, what's the definition of financially free? And she goes, she said, to have your money, make money that can pay all your bills. Not millions, your money, make money to pay your bills. So I looked at that and I thought, remember, I'm at crossroads. If I go down the route of education, get a job, I'm going to be like everybody else. So I asked her, how do I get to the 20? She goes, it's not easy. You're in the front trenches. There's no guarantee of income. You've got to do all your values more than anything else. So what I did is a week later, I quit my uni. I quit my education. I'm a college dropout. I have no degree, nothing. But the greatest thing happened is I started surrounding myself with all those Americans in that room. They're all double my age. And I was like a sponge. I would grab any information I could from these people. And it was because, and my dad's clever, what did he do? He took me out of one bad environment and he threw me into a good environment. And so he said the greatest and the fastest way to change is not education, it's to change your surroundings. Show me your friends, I show you your future. So that became my second turning point. My third turning point was I took on a mentor by the name of Clive Holmes. You can Google him, he's still alive, about 90. Clive Holmes was the king of the insurance industry. He was the founder of the $1 Million Round Table, the LIA, and so on. So I started getting coached by him. I paid him £100 an hour at the age of 19, 20. And all I wanted him to teach me was two things. Number one, how to say no. I couldn't say no to anyone. And number two, how to become a good speaker. So he taught me those two things. From the age of 21, I got my brother on board, and we were surrounded by the Americans. From the age of 21 to 23, I made £1 million net. Okay, by the age of 21, I made £1 million. By the age of 23, I lost it all. I blew the whole lot. By the age of 25, I went into marketing, sales, and I got big into the property game. But the problem with the property game was I had all these properties massively leveraged on mortgages. And the constant worry in my head was, does the rent cover the mortgage if the interest rates go up? So it was a constant worry in the back of my head, and I didn't want that worry. And on top of that, my big brother would say to me, what you're doing is haram. You're getting interest. This is haram. So it took him 10 years to get me out of the property business, which is I'm out. I have no mortgages, no loans, no interest, nothing. Then the biggest turning point, there's many stories, but I'll tell you the last turning point was 2014. I'm sitting in the Four Seasons Hotel in Mayfair, having a cappuccino, and there's a table next to me, and for the very first time, I heard the word Bitcoin. So now my ears, what are they talking about? Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. So I go home that night and I start researching, what the hell is Bitcoin? And that was the day and the date that changed turned my whole business around. Because from that day till today, I'm heavily into crypto. I bought Bitcoin at $1,000 a Bitcoin, not knowing what the hell I was doing. I didn't look at it for 3-4 years. When I looked at the wallet, it was like crazy. And so today, based on my 11 years experience, I see that my belief is that 95% of people who come into crypto will lose money. They'll either lose money, get scammed, or they'll get in at the wrong time and the whole market will crash because there's a pattern. So what I did is I've now built a platform to help, I'm like a bridge, to take brand new people across the bridge through association and surrounding yourself with the best people in the industry and meeting me live so that we can take this journey, because crypto is the future. And if you don't get into it now, if you're skeptical, in 5 years, everybody will be doing it. Okay, so that's my story. And me and my brother, I forgot to mention my brother, we've built a platform for the last 15, 18 years, which was initially coaching. And he has a great coaching program. And he does the coaching, I help people make money, and he fixes people's heads. So that's the combination.
Part of this community is amazing. It's like education. So it was in my mind since 2014 to start, by the way. I did a lot, but I never did anything. In 2019, I buy, sell, just 20% increase, I sell it. So I did it the wrong way because I didn't have that. What's the suggested amount to start, at least to try and understand how it works?
I think, first of all, you should go to understand first. Once you understand, maybe next 3-4 years. So if you take that view, then you can chill.
If I may add to this as well, I think, I'm not good with microphones. I would like to add to this because... Can you introduce yourself as well? Oh, yes. Sorry, my name is Jaren. I have joined the SMB and the team of Shez about 5 months ago. I think the biggest shift that you start with, the greatest thing that I've learned that no university teaches you nowadays, no traditional financial institution will ever give you an experience with, is that understanding how this whole crypto world works. This is number one. Number two, what I admire about the program, myself personally, is a shift in mind and the perspectives and eye-opening information that opens up a new opportunities. You see the whole finances in at a different scale. It's no longer dollars, no longer dirhams. It's the value of how much you benefit out of a single investment. and how to maneuver it in the right way. And it's all legal, it's all certified, it's all, you register with your official documents in UAE. The platforms are also, there's decentralized and decentralized exchanges, so the whole introduction, the whole flow, it's like going to the first grade again and learning about money. And that's something no one teaches. I mean, all of us can register in Binance. We can go buy just simple thing, what we've seen in advertisings or YouTube, and sell it, but no one teaches you the tricks and techniques, the times, watching the market, analyzing the charts. There's so much deep knowledge into this that no one would even share with you. You know, I had an experience with financial people, with the banking people, and with Shez, and the mind switch is where he introduces you to the new world of making money. That is very complex. You have to be 100% committed. You shouldn't give up even if you lose a dirham. But in the end, you know that the skills that you gain is like learning to ride a bicycle from beginning and mastering it. And the moment you master it, it's not about shares anymore, it's about being part of the community where you're surrounded with like-minded people who are keep on researching. I mean, I can't stop being part of the community, but each one of the members keep on coming with different news, with different ideas, with different options, with different market updates. Someone heard something, someone you get to know something. And that's built up and update because you physically will never be able to watch all the news in the world in a day. And it changes every second and every minute. So the community opens up a new world for you, a new world of making money. And that's something no one else will teach you.
So I'll give you an example.
When I invited him to the event, he was immediately, he said yes on the table with his humble spirit. Very humble character, and for me, I appreciate such relationships. For me, such relationships, it's like priceless. And as I mentioned earlier at the beginning, for those who came late, like he never did it maybe, usually, if not always, he speaks in rooms at least 500 plus. And he used to speak in UK, India, Dubai, and some parts of the world. And so I grabbed the opportunity when I found that he's, at this time of our event, he is in Dubai. I say, wow, why not? And thank you, Shiz, for your, we get some, Arfin, and I can't, really, I can't defy you enough. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
So, good afternoon. Probably the hardest part to talk to everyone's CV now. We've been looking forward to lunch, but I haven't even decided what I'm going to talk about. I never did. Because I've been in this space now for 25 years. Shez has probably told you his story, so it's very similar. Come from a very average family, 7 of us living in a 3-bedroom house in a pretty crappy part of London called Hounslow. Right? Yeah.
Not that bad.
Oh, it's terrible. It is that. And I went to school there, failed my English exam 3 times, failed my mathematics 3 times, never passed. All my teachers told me I was an idiot, but my family told me I was extraordinary. And that's what the power lies. I went back to my father, he threatened me in math. I said, yeah. Did you try your best? I said, yeah. He goes, no problem. Just learn how to count money, you'll be fine. From my English, and he said, you tried your best. I said, I tried my best, I swear I tried my best. He said, okay, just learn how to talk, you'll be fine. There was no pressure on me. My father never went to no parents' evening, nothing, I care. But all I knew was that there's a unity amongst family, and there is until today. Like, super unity. If my sister asked me for a blank check or a transfer, I wouldn't ask for life. I said, my brother asked me, my parents, they did 80s, like 85, 86, but they stick to 21. They're genuinely good. So I looked around, I took myself 19, I'm a very unconfident kid. I'm not popular. I'm popular at school, but I'm popular for the wrong reasons. It's too quiet. And one day my brother comes to me and says, I'm studying business. I was in LA at the time studying. And I said, why? He goes, I sell water filters. What do you know about water filters? Anyway, I go to this meeting, and like he saw 200 people jumping up and down, I saw 2,000. And I looked around and I thought, everybody there that was making money were people that should be making money because they don't have the right credentials, they have no education. And it was a big shift in my head that, you know, I was told that if I don't get educated, I'm not going to be successful. Lucky for me, my family didn't believe that. And lucky for me, I had an early awakening about life. So now I'm 90, broke. I worked in bakery, I worked in Domino's, I've done all the stuff that people do. And God is my witness, I'm not lying. Everything I think today is 100% the truth. And I tell you this because I want you to know that what I'm going to share with you today, I will probably guarantee that 98% of you will have never heard of it in your life. And I'm going to share something today, and I'm going to prove something today, and I'm going to give you a transformation today that you will never forget. Probably the only thing you will ever remember is your marriage, and then this. That's how transformation is going to be. I don't know if your marriage is good or bad, but either way, you know what I mean. So 19 I'm broke, 21 we're making a lot of money, 24 I'm super broke and 15 kilos overweight. And I'm totally upset with myself inside. How did I get here? Nothing, everything, nothing. So I start going to motivation sessions and positive thinking sessions and all that. And I feel good. And 2 days later, I'm back up again. Then I start thinking something's wrong with me. Can't be the sessions, right? So I realized that the more sessions I go to, the worse I become because it's not working. There must be me. It can't be the session. And so one day I realized that, see, I've probably offended a few people there, but I mean that with the greatest integrity, that all this positive thinking, motivation, you know, everything sit down and imagine it all come to you, is full bullshit. Absolutely. And I tell you the reason why I say that. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but if the foundation is weak, it will never work. Because I can sit there, I've been visualizing a six-pack for 10 years. And I do it day and night in my sleep. And I still have a one-pack. And I just can't attract it. So it can't just be a matter of sitting there visualizing driving my car and things will come. I don't believe that. And this is motivation garbage. You can do everything and you can't. In fact, a bit of negative thinking is very powerful. Let's do some negative thinking will change. Let's do something that's completely opposite. Do you want inspiration? I like that word. Positive thinking? Ugh. My house is on fire. Hell, life is good, life is fine. Life is awful. If I'm broke, I can't say it's all going to be okay. No, it's not. It's going to get worse. If I'm 50 kilos overweight, don't worry. You're going to be fine. No, you're not. You're going to die very quickly. So one day I'm sitting there, and one of the worst situations, my car went led to my brother. Then he was nervous. I had enough, can't do this anymore. I'm a failure. I'm giving this up. And he said, don't give up. And I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm thinking, what an idiot. And the moment I said that, I got very motivated. I said, you're a loser. And I got even more motivated. And then I started writing all the things that I believed about myself that were only I knew, no one else could. And the more I tell myself the truth, the more I get the transformation to do this in genuine transformation, not fake stuff. Have you seen that image where you see a picture of a lion looking into a mirror and the lion sees a little rat or something? I was the rat. But before I didn't see a rat, I saw the king of the jungle. But I looked at the king of the jungle inside, I was the king of the jungle outside. So that is a conflict, right? Who I am inside, what I see, is completely different. Now I have to be fake. Everywhere I go, how you doing? Yeah, I'm doing great. Life is good. How's your marriage? Oh, excellent. Really? What do you mean? Oh, right? People say excellent. But then someone says extraordinary marriage. Really? Is that even humanly possible? Because it has to go up and down, right? It has to. And then you see pictures, I see pictures on Facebook, everyone's posting my baby, my coochie. They're the ones that have got the worst marriages. So what I'm trying to say to you is that all of a sudden I now start seeing reality. Not the reality that my wife can see about me, or I can see about her, or my friends, or my brother. Because it doesn't matter what they see. I have to see my truth. So negative thinking was the greatest transformation of my life. So let's drop some positive thinking for today. Let's put it this way. Let's drop motivation. Throw it away. Let's talk about something that is even more powerful than that. I'm going to introduce you to something that I'm sure most of you don't know about. If you do, hats off to you. But everybody, most people don't know. So now I'm trying to fix my head. There's a mental health crisis going on in the world today, apparently. I don't believe that at all. At all. I'll prove it to you today. Categorically, with some science behind it too. So if you look at the majority, like Shed was saying, 480 people are broke. How is it possible in today's day and age, with AI, with the knowledge we have today on our fingertips, that anyone can fail? It's actually impossible, unless you are getting educated. About life. So now I'm 90, broke. I worked in bakery, I worked in Domino's, I've done all the stuff that people do. And God in my witness, I'm not lying. Everything I tell you today is 100% the truth. And I tell you this because I want to know that what I'm going to share with you today, I will probably guarantee that 98% of you will have never heard of it in life. And I'm going to share something today, and I'm going to prove something today, and I'm going to give you a transformation today that you will never forget. Probably the only thing you will ever remember is your marriage, and then this. That's how transformation is going to be. I don't know if your marriage is good or bad, but either way, you know what I mean. So 19 I'm broke, 21 we're making a lot of money, 24 I'm super broke and 15 kilos overweight. I'm totally upset with myself inside. How did I get here? Nothing, everything, nothing. So I start going to motivation sessions and positive thinking sessions and all that, and I feel good. And 2 days later, I'm back up again. Then I start thinking something's wrong with me. Can't be the sessions, right? So I realized that the more sessions I go to, the worse I become, because it's not working. Therefore, it must be me. It can't be the sessions. Until one day I realized that, see, I'm going to probably offend a few people there, but I mean that with the greatest integrity, that all this positive thinking, motivation, everything, sit down and imagine it all come to you, is full bullshit. Absolutely. And I tell you the reason why I say that. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but if the foundation is weak, it will never work. Because I can sit there, I've been visualizing a six-pack for 10 years. And I do it day and night in my sleep. And I still have a one-pack. And I just can't attract it. So it can't just be a matter of sitting there visualizing driving my car and thinking, I don't believe that. And this is motivation garbage. You can do everything and you can't. In fact, a bit of negative thinking is very powerful. Let's do some negative thinking will change. Let's do something that's completely opposite. Do you want inspiration? I like that word. Positive thinking? Ugh. My house is on fire. Hell, life is good, life is awesome. Life is awful. If I'm broke, I can't say it's all going to be okay. Because it's not. It's going to get worse. If I'm 50 kilos overweight, don't worry. You're going to be fine. No, you're not. You're going to die very quickly. So one day I'm sitting there, and one of the worst situations, my father went and led to my brother. I think you remember this. I had enough, can't lose anymore, I'm a failure, I'm giving this up. And he said, don't give up. And I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm thinking, what an idiot. And the moment I said that, I got very motivated. I said, you're a loser. And I got even more motivated. And then I started writing all the things that I believed about myself that were only I knew, no one else knows. And the more I tell myself the truth, the more I get the transformation to do this in genuine transformation, not fake stuff. Have you seen that image where you see a picture of a lion looking into a mirror and the lion seeing a little rat or something? I was the rat. But before I didn't see a rat, I saw the king of the jungle. But I wasn't the king of the jungle inside, I was the king of the jungle outside. So that is a conflict, right? Who I am inside and what I see is completely different. Now I have to be fake. Everywhere I go, how you doing? Yeah, I'm doing great. Life is good. How's your marriage? Oh, excellent. Really? What do you mean? Oh, right? People say excellent. Whenever someone says extraordinary marriage, really? Is that even humanly possible? Because it has to go up and down, right? It has to. And then you see pictures, on Facebook, everyone's posting my baby, my coochie poo. They're the ones that have got the worst marriages. So what I'm trying to say to you is that all of a sudden I now start seeing reality. Not the reality that my wife can see about me, or I can see about her, or my friends, or my brother. Because it doesn't matter what they see. I have to see my truth. So negative thinking was the greatest transformation of my life. So let's drop some positive thinking for today. Let's put it this way. Let's drop motivation. Throw it away. Let's talk about something that is even more powerful than that. I'm going to introduce you to something that I'm sure most of you don't know about. If you do, hats off to you. Because everybody, most people don't know. So now I'm trying to fix my head. There's a mental health crisis going on in the world today, apparently. I don't believe that at all. At all. I'll prove it to you today. Categorically, with some science behind it too. So if you look at the majority, like Shed was saying, 480 people are broke. How is it possible in today's day and age, with AI, with the knowledge we have today on our fingertips, that anyone can fail? It's actually impossible, unless you are getting educated. So if you're educating yourself with knowledge, then you are heading for disaster. You're thinking, are you nuts? You're saying something that's completely opposite. See, the word education comes from the Latin word educo. And educo means to draw from within. So if you think consuming knowledge is not going to produce breakthrough, no, it's going to make you feel good, make you more confident. But what about the actual results can only come from execution? So if you use your head, you're dead. So if you're not using your head, what should you use? Is there another method? And can it be proven without a shadow of a doubt, maybe through some science, that works traumatic stress disorder? But there's also something called post-traumatic growth, where people go through the worst time and they grow so powerfully that it's unbelievable. But how does that happen? So I'm going to introduce you to something very interesting today. And let's see if you pick it up. Even if you get an instinctive feeling about what I'm saying, it will have a profound effect. So tell me one thing. A woman becomes pregnant. The egg and the sperm have met. What is the first organ that is created? The ears. Anyone? The soul, I'm assuming, is there. What is the first organ that is created?
Heart.
The heart, right? Yeah. That's why you say, well, they hear the heartbeat. When does the heartbeat start beating? Anyone know? Take a guess. No one else has 3 weeks. Yeah. After 3 weeks, the heart, even before the lady knows she's even pregnant, the heart is already beating. But then how can the heart beat without the brain?
Because it has a brain.
So you're telling me there's a living organ that's beating, yet there's no brain. When does the brain get formed? Week number, anyone know? About 12. So you're telling me that during the process of pregnancy for 3 months, how is the body growing into a baby without a brain? Anyone have an explanation for that? Think about that for a minute. So you could technically switch your brain off and still be alive. You could be brain dead. But if you have a heart attack, you go. So how? Come on guys, give me an answer.
The heart has a brain of its own.
The heart has a brain of its own. Now is that fact or fiction? How do you prove that? Because I've heard that before as well. That the heart has a brain. In fact, you're totally right. Because in 1991, science discovered that the heart has 40,000 neurons that send more messages to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. That's interesting.
Can you repeat that again? Sorry.
Absolutely. In 1991, scientists discovered that the heart has 40,000 neurons in your heart that send more messages to your brain than your brain sends to your heart.
So the heart sends a message to your brain more than the brain sends to the
what it's supposed to. And I'm going to come back and give you some evidence that that's going to blow your mind, I promise you. So now I'm thinking to myself, you know, you've heard, look at all the religious books. They always say their hearts, they can see, but their hearts are blind. Good-hearted person. They say darkened heart, blackened heart, strong-hearted. Why not? Why not liver? A good liver person. A good kidney person. You know, they say this person speaks from his heart. He's genuine from his heart. So at first I think the heart is all about romance, you know, like skipping around behind like Bollywood movies, right? But romance doesn't come from the heart. That's a lie. Romance comes from the mind. All these emotions of love and all that, practically most of the ideas of love are in your head. When a baby's born, what you see, what you hear, what you touch, what you speak is what you're programmed with. And, you know, a diamond on a woman's ring is meant to be a woman's best friend. Who made that rubbish up?
Some rich man.
Oppenheimer, right? They say diamonds are rare. They're not rare, they're everywhere. They're still there. But now if you give a diamond, oh, it's love. Really? So if it doesn't build, if romance doesn't come from here, what does this actually produce? What does this send? What message does it send? Think about this for a minute. You know the answer, and if you think too much, you won't get the answer. So it's got to be instinctive. What messages does the heart actually send out? Think about it. Intuition. Well, I don't know what message it is. If it doesn't have love and romance and all that stuff, but heart is now related to romance. So if someone says, I have a very good heart, and they go, oh. But we don't want to do any ohs. We want to find out what is this doing or not even doing right now.
It gives a very direct yes and no.
It breaks. This woman knows her stuff. Right? It gives a very good direct yes and no. But still, I still want to know.
So it's the essence of a human?
What's the essence of a human?
But there is a quantum physics that says like a heart does the frequencies out of the feelings.
Frequencies we'll do later. I get that. But let's keep it raw. Because when we say, I believe in frequencies, it gets complicated. I'm just trying to say, let's take an example. I had children. I had children very late. My wife had a couple of miscarriages. Twins for the first time, miscarriage, then a car crash, miscarriage, and then finally we had twins again. And they're 6 years old. Do my kids think with their head, or do they think with their heart?
Their heart.
How do you know that? Of course, they think with their heart. Who else wants an ice cream in the middle of a desert? Does it make sense? No. Who else comes up to you and says, Daddy, I'm angry with you? And I'm like 10 foot taller than him. He has no fear. He's like, I say, you scared of me? No, I'm not. That's, where did you get the courage from? So the heart produces only one thing. Are your core values as a human being. There's a heart-to-heart connection. What does that even mean? It means that our values are aligned or they're connected. Your friendships. So when parents can stop teaching their kids skills and start teaching their kids values about who they are, those kids become extraordinary and become powerful. So let me give you some evidence now. This should be fun. Anyone have a smartwatch? No one has a smart Apple Watch or a Google Watch.
I don't know.
No one has one on right now?
We're old school,
That's a shame, because I thought one person would have had it. Are you sure no one has it? No, you can't pretend.
No.
Are you good? Oh, perfect. So I need your phone.
Thank you, Ben.
I need your phone and the app for the work. I want to show you something that should be really powerful. And by the end of today, I'm going to take you through a process. A lot of you are going to cry. Just to let you know, if you're worried about your makeup, tough luck. Because you probably will. Something. And luckily we have a person who's wearing a whoop.
Just closing the maps down to the final battery.
Okay, let's have a look. So if you're not familiar with this whoop, it's like a what do you call it?
Like a health monitor, sleep tracker.
His heart messaging is about 70% turned off. He's in his head. 70% is off. Now on the outside, he's a very confident guy. And on the inside, he's probably confident. But he relies so much on his head for his thinking that almost everything that he does will probably not get to the level that he wants to get to. He struggles. And if I look at him right now, and I'm going to go through the room in a minute, I'm going to look at you, I'm going to read you like a book. I will tell you what your personality is like. How do I explain that? Because if your HRD levels are high, your intuition goes through the roof. So this guy works very hard. Just put your phone back on. This guy works very hard.
I think no one is going to be able to watch you now.
I'll give you all the measures. Children. Children are hitting 120, 150, even 200. But what happens is when your kid goes to school, what do they tell them? What do they tell them? Use your brain. Use your head. You idiot. Use your logic. My kids don't go to school. They've never been to school. My kids are homeschooled. And the reason I teach them homeschool, when they hit about 10, maybe I'll put them to school. By that time, the character of the heart is now solidified. No one can mess with them now, because they become more strong-hearted people. They can go through fire, they can go through hurricanes, they can go through trauma, but they always come back up, because their heart is so strong that the voice of the head goes down, and the voice of the heart becomes amplified. Here's a little test. Think about this one. How far can you go back in your memory? What's the first age you could think of when you were a child?
4 months.
Okay, so, 4 months.
5. 4.
Well, can you guess? What number comes to your mind?
6 or 5.
Why don't you remember everything?
Not everything, but yeah, I remember.
Well, we remember stuff after a certain age, don't we? And the reason why that happens is because we move from our heart into our head, and the head starts storing memory. But the memories you can't remember are actually the ones that build your character up. So if I take my kids, I took them to Butterfly Garden yesterday, and they went when they were 2, and they have no recall memory of it. But they come to a certain age that you remember everything, because you're now going from your heart to your head. So I sent them to school. And in the schooling process, that's why teenagers cause so much trouble for those people. Because now they've gone from 100% activation to 50% activation. They're confused now. Do I use my heart? Do I use my head? Now if I'm using my head, I have to become like everyone else around me. So association causes power, or causes failure. So if I have a very high heart activation rate, and I'm amongst a group of people that have very low, I'm finished. Have you noticed, for example, in Islam, prayers are done in congregation. And churches, they do congregation. Why is it in congregation? Because everyone is pointing in the same direction. Everybody is saying the same thing. Everyone's come with the same intention. And the HRD level of your energy will flow at least 6 meters apart from everyone that is around you. So when you're in the company of bad people, you are going to be affected. Let me prove it to you. If you drink alcohol, next day check your HRD levels. Smack that down. You smoke a cigarette, smack that. Have a massive fight with someone you love. When I fight with my wife, when I check my HRD level, it'll go from 80 to 1. It does. And when it goes down, what happens? Everything around you crumbles. So my goal is, as a coach, is not to fix your head, because you can never do that. It's supposed to be chaotic as hell. But I don't want to listen to this chaos, I want to listen to this. So his average levels are 32, should be 100. What does he do? I'll tell you what to do in a second. Very easy. It's not difficult to do. Because if you don't get your voice of your heart louder, your head will win. The other day in Islam, there's a word called jihad, right? But the right wording is it's called the war within. And it's actually the fight between the head and the heart. That's the fight. And the head wins. That's why the majority of people are going through such difficult times. Even now it's even harder, because social media makes you want to look a certain way, be a certain way, have a certain thing, and then it's very hard for you to be yourself. When people say something about me, I don't care. It doesn't at least bother me. And the reason it doesn't bother me, because in my heart, I know who I am. But if I was in my head, I'd be dead. I'd get affected. So how do you know that you're in your heart or in your head? Very simple. One, you're always talking about the past. Consistent focus on the past. Number two, you're always looking for why you're going to fail. And number three, your focus on the future is very limited. And if you're on the front foot, I call it the front foot, where your heart is powerful, your heart's forward and your head is back, then what happens then is that you start thinking about the future and about the present, and you live to the past. How do you know you're in your head? If you hold on to anonymity for people. But if you have heart breaks from people, and people break your heart, and you stand your ground never to be near those people again, then you know your HRV levels are high. But you have to be heartbroken for that, not head broken. So the goal is to raise your HRV level. And if you raise your HRV level, suddenly the law of attraction becomes powerful because your heart will never guide you wrong. So if I go around the room right now, okay, do you have your HRV? So 32, we'll get 100. Yeah?
Has to be careful.
So let's take, today her HRV levels are pretty cool. She's 61, right? This is not bad. If I take her, no, that's your heart rate. No, that's not the one. You got the wrong one. Only get HRV. What you do is that all of a sudden decisions come to you instantly.
Yes.
You meet people that you just know. Like example, if I look around the room right now, right, and I just look around the room, I can tell you that this young lady, for example, she is very knowledgeable, very talented. Yeah, very knowledgeable, very talented. But I can bet you $1 million right now, whether she admits it or not, her inner feeling of happiness and satisfaction is not high at all. I think the visual is fantastic, but the internal, no. And the reason why it's low is because she needs to aim far higher than she does right now. I think she's playing a very small game compared to what she could. That's my instinctive feeling. If I, for example, go around the room, and you know how you can read people? How do you read people? Yes, you guys have a life. No, if you pick on me, it's very hard to read. Right? Well, I'll come back to you in a second, because I'm doing it consciously. So the point I'm making is that the goal is to get those levels higher. And the quickest way, as someone else said earlier, I think you were saying earlier, just stop. Like, stop. And sit and do what? Nothing. Like, that is hard for human beings now.
Very hard.
Yeah, very hard. You've got to stop. Like, I just met this young lady. She introduced me to her husband. Right? And she got the machine gun out. And she assassinated him in front of me. And she doesn't know she's doing it. She's not doing it negatively. She's not. But me, I was watching thinking, what are you doing? This is the partner that you've been with forever. When you see him, you have to get elevated. So you want to see a relationship, get both partners HRV levels, and you're going to find out the truth.
Let's do it. Do you not know what you're saying?
What I'm trying to say is that you cannot, when you're fixing an engine, let me tell you a story. I work with a lot of very famous people, especially in India. And one of the people I worked with had a stabber, a very famous actor, Tom Cruise of India. I can mention his name because he's publicly said everything Russian, I don't know if you know him. Yeah. But anyway, he's a Tom Cruise of India. Gave him to people who know him. I meet him and he's saying, you stutter? He goes, yeah, he's stuttering since I was a kid. It's genetic, which is not. I don't. So I meet him and he goes, for 15 years I've been trying to fix it. Okay? So I'm not meeting him for that, but to cut a long story short, 3 days later, 95% of his stutters vanished. And I never got to the stutter ever. What I did is I looked at the circumstances of the stress around it, be it people, be it situation, be it the environment they're in, and I eliminated or modified one of those stress indicators, of which was someone in his family that had issues. So I got that fixed. I'm not kidding you, in less than 3 days, 95% of his stutter back. He thinks I've done a miracle. How did you do that? I'm a coach. I can't do anything. I cannot help you. Can you give me advice? No, who the hell am I? I do nothing. All I do know is how to tune the brain and the heart to work in sync so your heart is more powerful than your brain. That's what I can do. And when someone says, give me some advice, I say, sorry, I'm the wrong guy for you. But what I can do is I say, whenever you're in a situation, if you are down and you're staying down low for a long period of time, then you have to be in your head. 3 years ago, approximately, I had one of the biggest heartbreaks of my life. And that was the first time in my life I actually experienced what I would call trauma. I was on the ground. I was wishing that I don't get up the next day. I have never been in that situation in my history. And I'm thinking about it more and more. The more I think about it,
Yes.
the more I'm digging a hole for myself.
Yes.
And lucky for me, I'm a coach. And I remembered my own stuff. And I said, what am I doing? My heart was telling me, you can do it. You can get out. No one can hear this feeling. Even you can't hear it. But you know that you know that you know. My brother shared one day, introduced me to someone and said, I'm going to invest £100,000 with this person. He gave it back to you. I said, don't do it. He goes, what? I said, I know. Just trust me. Just don't do it. Lucky he listened to me, and the guy turned out to be a scammer. So your instinct has power. But what if your head is so loud that you can't even hear that cry saying, oh. So every memory you have in your life is stored in two places. One's in your head and one's in your heart. So when you go to get your head fixed, the heart is still unresolved. So when you talk about people of frequency, you say we're the same wavelength. It's because your HRV levels and your values are aligned. So even if I fight with my brother, we can never be broken apart. Can't happen. So the values are aligned. But the HRV is most important. So how do you do that? One, you've got to be surrounding yourself with people that are authentic and real. Even if they're horrible, but they're authentically horrible. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, someone is broke and he's broke. I'm broke. No problem. Or you know someone that is, hurled abuse. But in front of people, hi, how are you? Like my friend Horace. Right? When he's alone, oh my God, what comes out of his mouth is shocking. But it doesn't bother me because I know that there's no harm in that at all. So your authentic people around you are so important. So if you have teenage children, you better make sure that that circle of influence that you have around them is heart-driven and not head-driven. And therefore, if you put that into your mindset and then you start, when I say you start looking for heart people, you don't actually say who has a good heart, you never know. But you know. Any of you had experience where you meet someone you just don't like them for no reason? It never happened. You know. Sometimes you walk into a room and you kind of feel there's something good or bad in that room. You just know. Where did that come from? It comes from the vibe, right? You said that person's got a good vibe. Many times my wife has brought some friends to the house and I'll go up to them and say, bad person. And she'd say to me, oh, you're so judgmental, why do you take this form? Right? And I said, watch, just watch. And within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, horrible. A cook comes in, new job, I say to her, 2 weeks, he'll be out. She is so negative. Right? Within 2 weeks, they're gone.
So now when I interview them, I say, don't say anything.
You will attract all the garbage on earth into your life, no matter how positive you are in your head. So when you say, I am imagining myself driving a Ferrari, the heart is saying, no, you're not, you idiot, you're not. So it doesn't believe it. I'm going to have a great body. And the heart says, no, you're not. You're going to eat donuts tonight. So there has to be a synchronization between the two. There has to be that when your HRV levels are high, whatever you think about will come to you. Not because it comes to you, it doesn't actually come to you at all. It just makes you look for it. It's called the law of focus rather than law of attraction. So here's a clue for you. Tonight, when you go home tonight and tomorrow, you will see the number, 7. You will see it everywhere. Wherever you go, you're going to notice the number 7. I promise you that. Guaranteed. You're going to see 7 everywhere you go. And you will. Why? Because the more focus is whatever you think about will mostly happen. But not think about here, think about here. So you have to be truthful to who? To yourself. I don't care if you're dishonest with everyone around you. No problem. I'm cool with that. But when you look in that mirror and you're lying to yourself, denial, no matter what you do in your life, you are going to end up failing. So there are people who are so successful, even though they're failing. You think, what do you mean by that? Because as they fail, their HRV levels go up because they inside know that I'm going to conquer this. So I don't care what you look like on the outside, but I do care what your character is on the inside. And if you can match the both ones, inside out, then you are in a space where success is inevitable. God knows best. But it's possible. So all of you, at least once, measure your HRV levels for a period of a week. Then throw the device away. Because I don't think you should look at it. I don't wear it, but because I don't want to be looking at my watch every week thinking, what are my HRV levels? I go mad. Or you do measure it for a week, you get your average for that week, and now you know if it's 30, that is 70% sufficient. If it's 50, which is the worst place to be, by the way, because it's sometimes happy, sometimes sad, I'd rather you be totally wrecked or totally good. Don't be in the middle, because in the middle is a horrible space. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a small journey now, and I'm going to show you the power of your HRV now. Let's do that. Why not? And let's show you how the inner heart of your, when I say heart, no romance here, by the way. It's all about strength, power, conviction, courage, and all the attributes you need when you need to come up and become a superhero. From Clark Kent to Superman. Most of you have never even worn the Superman costume that you own and possess at the time you were born. So what we're going to try to do is transition that, show you. Forget me telling you. Why don't you experience it yourself? Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
Do not fall asleep. So I'm going to do a closed eye process. If you are tired and you are sleepy, you can stand up. Because if you fall asleep, it's still going to work, but I want to just go through a bit of an experience. If you get a little emotional, don't run out of the room. And if you get emotional, don't go to your neighbor and say, there's going to be okay. Don't do that. And it's not going to be sad, it's not going to be negative. I'm not doing any negative stuff in this process. If I was doing a longer term exercise with you, I would have put you through some negative stuff today. Just to give you a, you know what they call that machine that you put on the heart? Defibrillators, everyone? Yeah, I've done a couple of those today. Just to wake up and make you realize what your possibility really is. So this is not my opinion, this is going to be all your opinion. And you're going to see yourself as you really believe you are, in a positive light, no negative stuff today. I promise you that. And hopefully you will not forget what I'm about to do for the rest of your life. Because it's going to be a defining moment. And my goal is very simple. By the time we finish here today, I hope to God that whenever you go out there into the real world, no matter what difficulties you're going through, your heart must never give up. If your head gives up, no problem, because it will, by the way. But if your heart gives up, the recovery is very, very hard. I've got people who've been depressed and gone out of depression. You know how? Simply by standing in front of a mirror and smiling for 30 minutes. And the brain, the heart thinking, wow, he's so happy he's been smiling for 30 minutes non-stop. It's all about interpretation. And the other last thing I will say to you is breathe. Because that is one of the fastest ways to change. That's why if you look at Islam, for example, 5 times in a day you step out this chaotic world and you go into silence. In the middle of nothing. Like all of a sudden, bang, you're out. It's powerful. So you've got to step out of that zone for even 10 seconds. I don't care how. Sit down, even stand up, whatever you want to do. Pick your nose, anything you want to do. But do something that you enjoy. My son picks his nose all the time. I said to him, why do you pick your nose? He says, he goes, I love picking my nose. I said, carry on. It gives him happiness, why not? What do I care? It's true, I'm not kidding you. You know, so one more thing before I do the process. My kids have been born in the same house. They have the same love, they have the same attention, but they're completely different personalities. Do you think that's parenting? No. It's all about the character of the heart. So the only thing that can unify a good community or a good family are core values. If they are strong, nothing is impossible. And if they are weak and you're strong-headed, you're headed for disaster.